Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash right here, and this time I'm going to talk about something that people either confuse or don't even understand. And you wanna know what that is? That's actually freedom. See, freedom is something that people misconceive or have a misconception of. See, when you have true freedom, you don't worry about what the hell other people think, but you actually have the responsibility to say, you know what, man, I'm not going to do certain things because I know for a fact that's going to fuck me up. Now, some of you may say that, okay, so we already know the difference, but some people actually don't act on it. And when you don't act on the type of freedom that benefits you, but then you know, like, hey, look, man, I know certain things are not good for me, so I'm going to stay the hell away from it. Just like what they said back in, rock candy. Stay back with your crack. Because some of y'all have irresponsibility, not freedom. See, true freedom occurs when you know what is right and what is wrong. When you choose responsibility, but you choose the decision that benefits you. Now then, why are people afraid of freedom? Because they're afraid of responsibility. And with freedom comes great responsibility. And with freedom comes peace. And if you don't have peace, how can you be you? Simple as that. Some people are actually afraid of, being themselves because they just want to impress people out there so they could actually be happy. But let me tell you something. If you're busy trying to impress other people but you yourself is unhappy, then you don't have freedom. You actually have just what you call oppression. You're depressed, oppressed, you get stressed. That's one thing you need to remember. See, I remember I made up a motto, which was like a few months or a year back, and I said progression before pleasure. Because if you take progression before pleasure, you will realize that you will move forward instead of moving backwards. But as soon as you put pleasure before progression, everything you thought you were doing now, will it benefit you later? No, I'm serious. Will it benefit you later? That's actually a question. Everything you do now for fun, will it benefit you in the future time? Because as soon as it doesn't, as soon as you realize it don't, that's when you realize that, you know what, man, I am not going to do this. Because it's not helping me out, it's not helping you out, it's not helping any one of us out. Because you know why? Because in the end, I'm not succeeding, you're not succeeding. In fact, everyone else is doing their own thing. But as soon as you forget ourselves, as in like the person that you were born as, not the person you were born to be, not to serve. Remember, people are meant to be, not to serve. And people are starting to love things and starting to use people. Well, aside from my statement, you'll realize that you have your own way of living. But as soon as it starts harming other people, that's when you should say, you know what, man, I'm going to stop. And those who don't stop, think about it, they're either in jail, or if they deceive the people more than enough, they become political leaders. Take that with a grain of salt. People who hurt people more than enough can actually either go to jail, or if they deceive the people more than enough, become political leaders. And they say like we're land of the free, home of the brave, but when you really think about it, America, if you look at its real history, it had no freedom. It only had irresponsibility, and it had no equality. It only had exploitation. Some of you may say that, wait a minute, why are you going off trying to bash America for? I'm just trying to prove a point. And how the way it kind of ties into what's going on today. And how the way people try to say, like, America's the greatest place to live. Don't let that title fool you. In some aspects, it could be. In some aspects, it is not. But how does this tie in with freedom? Like I said before, freedom with responsibility come together. And if freedom and responsibility don't come together, you know what happens? You start to destroy yourself because you think freedom should be doing what the hell you want. But as soon as you have to remember, if you inhibit yourself, you realize, wait, there are certain things that will not benefit me. As soon as you realize that freedom, benefit, and peace, along with responsibility, that's what makes up an individual. But if individuals come together and say, you know what, man, we're noticing that a lot of people are hurt. And, I was watching Alpha Omega Sin, and he talked about this 90-year-old man who did the kindest of things, and that's feeding the homeless, doing something good for the homeless. And the reason why the old man did that was because he said, you know what, man, I'm doing it just to do it. And just to show off not to show off kindness, but to show off that, you know what, man, I'm free to do this because I choose to. Because not many people out there just say, like, you know what, man, this is my shit. I earned this. And it's quite funny too, because your parents always teach you, like, you know what, man, make sure you defend for your own. Make sure you have your own, because that's real freedom. And when they themselves were conformed to benefit of society. So in essence, what your parents might actually be teaching you could actually oppress you. But when it comes right down to freedom, especially when it comes right down to saying no. See, I remember a classmate of mine. She said this: there's power in the word no. Before, I didn't get it because I was always a yes man. And being a yes man doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a lot of acceptances. I learned that the hard way. As soon as she said that, I will never forget. And I'm grateful that she said that, because now I learned my lesson the easy way. Well, the medium way, because I learned it the hard way, then the easy way. It's not complicated. It's just that once you experience it, it's rather good. See, the freedom to say no, especially towards oppression, that is what society is meant to do, especially when leaders are getting out of hand. But as soon as you are afraid to take up the mantle of freedom and take up the responsibility that comes with it, that's when you open yourself up to be controlled. And as soon as you are controlled, that's when you realize, oh shit, I fucked up somewhere. And then you just realize this: no, I let all this go on because I thought I had freedom, and I fucked up. How did I fuck up so badly? That's the common man. See, the rich man, here's the thing. He has financial gain. He has, wealth. But you know what he doesn't have that poor people have? Responsibility. Because he believes that everything he can buy, you cannot buy love. You cannot buy compassion. You cannot buy responsibility. Hey, you may get by on a jet ski though. You can get by on $10,000, like $100,000 in a week. No, not even a week, a month. Shit, if it was a poor person, we'd been like, damn, we feel great. But since we have a sense of responsibility and we're the most taxed people, meaning that we always pay our taxes like immensely, we realized that we were just like, damn, really? We're paying all these taxes, yet we still manage to get by, just barely. And the funny thing is the fact that as soon as we complain about like getting by, we always want more. And it's understandable because in a sense of survival, you have to understand that you have to survive. But the difference between survival and greed are very great. Because some people actually confuse survival for greed. See, when you want your people to survive, you gotta embrace the culture. Not the oppressor's culture, but your own culture. And some people like to label cultures that don't belong to them as either as subcultures or, heretics. Heretic by nature. But how does this tie in with freedom? It ties in with freedom because it deals with self. Not only self-responsibility, but also self-acceptance. Because as soon as you have freedom, you have to accept what do you need instead of what do you want. It deals with what do I need to do to survive, as opposed to what do I want people to think of me. As soon as you get rid of the image, then the real you starts showing off. The difference between the real you showing off and just an image is the fact that an image, you have to keep up something and you get stressed. But if it's the real you, then you have nothing to worry about. And quite frankly, responsibility along with freedom allows an individual to live as opposed to being served or to serve others. That's all I gotta say. YouTube, hope you have a great day today or a great evening in case where y'all live. This is Broman Clash right here saying out one, at one. See you next video.